A Black Friday quiz, which is better? 1, paying $3.49 for a 1 month all access, or 2, paying $244.30 for 1 month all access. The day after Thanksgiving, we want to continue giving thanks by giving all of our customers 30% off anything priced at $149 or more. A Black Friday sale was always a once-a-year chance to buy something at big discount, and this is it. Even better, we are running this promotion Black Friday through the end of Cyber Monday and making coupon code THANKS30 have unlimited uses. Whether it's a single sport package, a 30-day all access, a full season of college hoops, or a full 12 months from your favorite handicapper, you will save 30% with coupon THANKS30. You can fill your goodie bag as many times as you want until the clock strikes midnight on Monday.
It is a Wednesday, November 24th, the day before Thanksgiving, and welcome to WagerTalk Today. I am Ted Savransky, aka Teddy Covers, and I will be joined hopefully shortly by my co-host Steve Merrill joining me today. And we have a loaded pre-Thanksgiving show. Rob Veno is going to come on and talk college football Saturday, Western Kentucky at Marshall. Real intriguing battle there. And of course, Alabama, Auburn, the Iron Bowl from Rob Veno. I'm going to give you a big game breakdown from college football on Friday. Talk Texas against Kansas State. Carmine Bianco is going to join us. Give us a couple in the NHL, the Rangers and the Islanders, the Bruins and the Sabres. And we'll close out the show with Arthur DiCesare, veteran odds maker from right here on the Las Vegas Strip. Art's going to give us the skinny on what's going on from the sportsbook side of the counter, which is always an interesting thing to have. Just a quick show note. There will be no show tomorrow on Thanksgiving. On Friday, there will be a show. It'll be Steve Merrill and the Prez. I will be taking Friday off. In fact, I'm leaving about 5 minutes after this show is over to get on a plane. I'll be back Saturday night for, you don't miss NFL Sundays, at least not in my world. So let's get into it. I'm going to start with what I learned last night. And I hate to do this. I'm not going to do it for Christmas. I'm not going to do it for New Year's. But I got to do some thankful because I'm thankful for a lot. All right. I'm really thankful. Look, I have a wife that I like. Positive. I have a kid that I still like. Positive. I have a job that I mostly like. Positive. I have a platform to share my opinions right here on WagerTalk Today. I appreciate that. I don't win in every sport, every season, not every week, but I certainly do have good seasons in every sport that I do. I'm thankful for that. I'm still fairly healthy. I'm thankful for that. I get to hang out with my friends on air. I'm definitely thankful for that. I'm thankful that when the Prez is gone, he still gets the guests and the co-hosts. So he's living up to his end of the bargain. I appreciate that, Prez, even though sometimes it makes me crazy to work with you on a daily basis. I'm really thankful for the guys behind the scenes. And these are guys you don't see every day. You know, Joe Ranieri hosts a couple of shows. He does a ton behind the scenes. Dan Newbert, Rob Harris, Chris Allen, James Bunting, Will from graphics, of course, Missy 1 and Missy 2, and then Rick and Johnny, my bosses from behind the scene. Yeah, but they're cool bosses. You know me well enough. I couldn't work for a jackass. I really couldn't. I would leave the day my contract was up. And that's happened more than once in this business already. But I really want to thank the guys behind the scenes that allow the shows to go every day and allow me to present my info for you guys. And more than anything, perhaps, I'm thankful for an audience. There's lots of people have shows with no reach. This show and many other shows here at Wager Talk actually have some reach. And that's awesome. And that's thanks to you guys out there. So for Thanksgiving, I got to say thank you guys. Really appreciate you watching and listening every single day, even on a busy day like today, where, you know, I'm getting on a plane 15 minutes after I finish the show. You guys are still hanging out, and we appreciate it. Let's bring in Rob Veno right at the top and start talking some college football. Unfortunately, Merrill's still dealing with technical difficulties. He tried to do a show when he traveled. I'm telling you, I never do a show. I don't like to do shows when I'm traveling because of exactly what Merrill is going through right now as he's scrambling around trying to plug things in and get his lighting to work and all of that. So let's bring in Rob Veno right off the top. Mr. Veno, welcome to Wager Talk Today.
see you before the day happens, so I'll wish you that now. Glad to be here this afternoon.
The pleasure is all mine, my friend. And the fact that we had no Merrill at the top means we have more Veno time, which everyone appreciates. Let's get right into it, Rob, because you can break down a game. I was joking before the show. I'm like, we have 2 games, so Rob will be done in half an hour. But the bottom line is, I don't know anyone in the world that breaks down a game with more thoroughness than Rob Veno. You're not going to go into either one of the 2 games we're going to talk about without good info in your head from Rob's analysis. Let's get into it. Western Kentucky and Marshall. This is a game with all kinds of implications. It's the USA. What are we going to do with the Hilltoppers and the Thundering Herd? Right now, Marshall, about a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, and the goal, Teddy, is always to make it difficult for you to find a rebuttal question. So that's why we go through what we go through here. A WKU at Marshall this weekend for all the marbles in CUSA East Division play. The winner will go to the Conference USA title game, get to face University of Texas San Antonio. And, Marshall had a big game here a couple of weeks ago, right? They played UAB. UAB came out on top. I'm going to get straight to the matchups here, Teddy, because, again, we use this a lot in handicapping when we think that overall season statistics are skewed. In this case, I'm going to point out Marshall's, and it's going to lead me to a play on Western Kentucky plus the 1 point. Actually, my power ratings made them a 1-point favorite, so let's get into it here. The Marshall pass defense is our concern, obviously. Going to face the Western Kentucky air raid pass-oriented offense. They throw the ball 67% of the time so far this season. On paper, this matchup looks real nice for Marshall. Marshall can't stop the run. They've had trouble all season long, allow 193 rushing yards per game, but Western Kentucky doesn't run. Like I just said, they throw the ball 67% of the time. They only rush for 98.5 yards per. So that sets up nicely because you would think that their weakness can't be exposed. They only allow 187.5 through the air. That's their strength so far this season. 54.4% completions allowed on the season by Marshall. That's a great number in college football. That would seem to be good against Western Kentucky's strength. However, we have to dive into Marshall's schedule so far this season, Teddy, because the pass offenses that they have faced really skews these numbers. They have faced only 3 inside the top 60, and at best, the top-rated pass offense they've faced all season long has been East Carolina. But look at the teams that they faced that they could defend. NC Central, a very bad offensive FCS team. Navy, who doesn't throw. Old Dominion, who ranks 91st. UAB, who ranks 80th. North Texas, who has turned to a run-heavy team, ranks 96th in passing. FAU, FIU, ODU. Tell me you want any one of their quarterbacks. You don't want them. The 3 teams that they played that could throw it a little bit. ECU, as I mentioned, 395, wound up scoring 42 points. Appalachian State threw for 283, and Charlotte threw for 245. None of those are in the league of Western Kentucky. Number 1 in the country, 431.5 passing yards per game. To put it in context, that's 41 yards per game better, almost half a field better than the number 2 team, which is Mississippi State. Bailey Zappi, if you guys haven't seen him yet, if you've just been betting Western Kentucky blindly because they've played well and they've covered some numbers, if you get a chance, watch him. Houston Baptist transfer. Obviously, the receivers came from Houston Baptist. The offensive coordinator came from Houston Baptist, Zach Kitley. They brought this whole new air raid. Zappi has thrown the ball 533 times, 72% completions, 4,640 yards. How about this? 48 TDs, 9 interceptions. It's a whole different world for Marshall in this game. They've got a good offense, Teddy. They can throw it vertical. They can run it a little. They can get up and down the field. They'd rather do the passing game through large chunks. But to keep up with this team, and this team has been against some difficult foes, let's face it. I mean, we saw Ohio State trash Michigan State. And, of course, Ohio State's on a different level. But listen, Western Kentucky threw for 488 at Michigan State. 488, almost 500 yards at that place. The best defense, you could argue me UAB, but the best defense in Conference USA has been Texas San Antonio, either 1 or 2. Western Kentucky threw for 523 against Texas San Antonio. Indiana, they threw for 373 way back at the beginning of the year when Indiana was still rated as a good team. So I don't think there's any problems with the venue. I don't think there's any problems finding holes in Marshall's defense. I don't believe Marshall can keep up step for step, point for point. And just to add icing to the cake here, if you want to consider Marshall's pass rush, consider this. Western Kentucky has allowed 12 sacks in 543 pass attempts. Incredible. To drop back that many times, only get sacked 12 times. It shows you how fast the ball comes out. It shows you how accurate the quarterback is. It shows you how in sync this air raid is. I like Western Kentucky, plus 1 point to go to the CUSA title game.
So, Rob, to me, this feels very much like the type of game where whoever has the ball last is going to score and win. And yet we've seen some money come in on the under, open 75.5. We're looking at 73.5 right now. Any idea why we're seeing under money? The weather looks fine. There's no wind conditions because, I'm with you on Marshall's not likely to shut down the Hilltoppers passing attack. I'm just not convinced that the Thundering Herd, that the Hilltoppers are going to get stops themselves. So talk about the total here for just a minute.
Yeah, even myself, Teddy, a guy who has cashed a lot of Western Kentucky overs this year and does not mind betting an over, obviously. Even I had a hard time at 75, thinking that 41-34 doesn't get you the money. It's a lot of points. They can score that many points, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't bet under in any game involving Western Kentucky, so I'm not in that group, and I can't support that group that played under here. But maybe just a hair bit too high. Perhaps, again, there's a little extra respect for the Marshall pass defense, which I think when I break it down is a little misleading statistically.
Let's shift our focus to the Iron Bowl on Saturday, the annual rivalry between Alabama and Auburn. And Rob, this is one where you want to talk more about the total than the side. Over under 55.5 between the Tigers and the Crimson Tide. What are we going to do with this one? Auburn, perhaps with some quarterback issues this week. Alabama, not so much.
Yeah, not so much at Alabama. Theirs is in line to be one of the invited guests for the Heisman Trophy, obviously, later this season. Game open 54.5, bet up to 55.5. So there's been some movement on the over here in this game. Weather, we'll start with that. Looks real good in Auburn, Alabama. 3:30 start time on Saturday, about 45 to 55 degrees. No winds to speak of. The Alabama side, Teddy, to score points here, I think is a given. I'm just not so sure that Auburn can hold up defensively. I give you this number. Again, in 6 games where they played SEC West teams and Georgia, they got the bad luck of the draw. They drew Georgia from the East this year. But in those 6 games, Auburn's defense has allowed 435 yards per game. They give it up both ways. They'll give it up on the ground. They'll give it up through the air. Georgia, Arkansas, and A&M, 3 of those games, all 3 of those ran for over 200 yards. LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, the other 3 games, all 3 of those threw for over 300 yards. So the 435 a game is no fluke. They've given it up consistently to good offenses, and they don't mind how they give it up. Unfortunately for them, Alabama can do both, which to me means Alabama is going to do a lot like what they did last week against Arkansas. I'm glad that this total, I'm playing it over, but I'm glad it's mid-50s. Because if I had even 3/4 of an ounce of confidence in TJ Finley at quarterback to do what KJ Jefferson did last week for Arkansas, then I'd probably be all in on this over. Really all in. Because if Auburn can get their share, I think they'll get enough to get over this mid-50s number. If they could get their share like Arkansas did last week, we saw 77 points put up. But I just can't buy into Finley as being as good as Jefferson. I think Auburn gets their points here simply because they're going to be in chase mode for a majority of this game. I'm probably going to need them to get me to 21. I think they're more than capable of that. They've got the running game to do so. If they have to turn to the air, they probably get about 13 possessions in this game. I think they can score on 3 of them. So I think that he can get it done if he gives me anything like what KJ Jefferson did. And remember, Arkansas went scoreless first quarter last week. And then with no running game, absolutely none, because Alabama, fifth in the country against the run, shut that down. Arkansas still threw and found holes in that Alabama pass defense, enough to get to 35 points. So that's where the faith comes in Auburn, that the Alabama secondary right now is not even good enough to stop a team which isn't known as a throwing team when they've in fact got the lead and shut the team down on the ground. So to me, Auburn gets theirs. Alabama thoroughly gets theirs. The numbers seem too low. I think there's value in this number, so I'm going to play it up and over 55.5.
So, Rob, again, just hearing what you're saying, you think Alabama's capable of scoring on every possession in this game or close to it. I don't disagree. But you're worried about Auburn's ability to trade points at all in this game. Why wouldn't you look at the Crimson Tide minus 19.5 or minus 20 in this contest? Prevailing line 19.5. There are some 20 starting to pop. Why do you like the side? Why do you like the total here as opposed to the side?
Yeah, that reason comes from outside the fundamental bubble, Teddy, and it's because of the rivalry itself. You just never know what's going to happen in these games. There's been times where Alabama's been a big favorite and trashed this team. There's been times when they've been a big favorite and they've lost the game, and Auburn's done more or exceeded expectations. Let's put it that way. So for that reason and the potential of a backdoor, if you're up 25, if it's 38-13 and Auburn gets one in there, 38-20, you lose. For those reasons, I'm probably off. It's got nothing to do with the fundamentals, but it's got everything to do with I'm a little scared of the rivalry and things that have gone on in this rivalry.
Rob Veno breaking down the world of college football. Intense analysis, and I hope you guys took notes on that one. Rob is absolutely brilliant at sharing information in a way that everyone can understand, and I certainly appreciate having him on the show each and every week. What do you have going this weekend, Rob? It's Thanksgiving, NFL, and college football. Tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, NBA, college hoops. What do you got going for our viewers and your clients this week?
Let's start with Thanksgiving Day, Teddy, where there's already a 4% best bet up in college football. The NFL going up right behind this show. I'm going to stack a lot of plays as soon as I get off this show, including a 5% play, probably my favorite 5% play of the college football season, going up within the next 30 minutes. So please check in, WagerTalk.com. We're trying to get these things up earlier this week for all of you that are traveling and don't have a ton of time to check back into WagerTalk.com, want to get your bets in early. We're going to have them up there for you. But again, 4% college football already there for Thanksgiving Day. A host of big plays coming right behind it. That doesn't even include what I'm going to put up for NBA this evening and potential college basketball. So check it all out, WagerTalk.com.
Excellent stuff, Rob. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with my big game breakdown. And yeah, I'm going to talk Texas football. Early start Friday. Stay tuned.
7 days for under $10 a day. There are 2 college football games Tuesday night, 4 NFL and 2 college football games on Thanksgiving, 16 college football games on Black Friday, plus a full Saturday and Sunday of college football and NFL action. Add in any NBA, college basketball, and NHL action, and it's an awesome week of sports. We are so very thankful that you are current or maybe a new client of WagerTalk, and we want to give you our best once-a-year price for a 7-day all-sport, all-access package. Enjoy the holiday with family and friends, and don't worry about missing plays throughout the week if you're traveling. That's right, only $69 for 7 full days of college football, NFL, NBA, college hoops, NHL, and any other plays your favorite capper releases. Happy Thanksgiving and safe travels for those hitting the road from our WagerTalk family to yours.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some Black Friday college football. 9 a.m. Pacific start, noon for you back east. National TV affair, and that would be Texas and Kansas State. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing Texas a 3-point favorite in most locations. Total is sitting 51.5, 52, 52.5, anywhere in that range. Let's call it 3 and 52 as we speak. And look, I understand that the betting markets don't like Texas a whole lot right now. I understand the betting public doesn't like Texas right now. This is the ugliest 6-game losing streak in the country as we speak. But let's not forget, bettors should remember that bookmakers aren't in the habit of giving away free money. The Longhorns are favored here for a reason. Look, they got every team during this skid at the wrong time, and it's been a brutal slate. Just look at it. I know the Kansas game, all right? But when you're talking about, there's 4 really good teams in the Big 12. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and Baylor. Yeah, Texas faced all of them during this skid. Kansas State lost to those same 4 teams. They just faced 3 of them early on. So now we're like, oh, Wildcats, they won 4 of their last 5. Texas on this skid. They both lost to the same teams. It's just the way the schedule went about. And then obviously you had the West Virginia game and the Kansas game. I'm going to give asterisks to both of those. Kansas game, defense didn't show up. West Virginia, I'll give Texas credit last week. They got punched in the mouth and they fought back. And that's the only reason I can take Texas and lay 3 points with them here. But now it's last home game. There's pride involved. And they're the better team. All right, let's not forget that Texas came into the K-State game last year off a loss. And they proceeded to physically outclass the Wildcats. It was 69-31. It wasn't close. All right. Now, K-State has quarterback injuries. Skylar Thompson doesn't look like he's going to be able to play. Without him, like, oh, Will Rogers, he's got 9 starts and Will Rogers stinks, all right? He's Thompson's backup for a reason. All right. I know that he's thrown for 267 yards and a touchdown this season. And I know that he ran the offense when K-State won their most impressive game of the year back in September against Nevada. That's the best team they've beaten this year. Yeah, I'm not buying Will Rogers. He's Thompson's backup, like I said, for a reason. Stop Deuce Vaughn, you'll beat K-State. I think Texas shows. I think Texas wins. I wouldn't be surprised if they win by a pretty big margin. Longhorns minus the 3. A little contrarian angle here, perhaps, laying points with Texas. There's your big game breakdown. And I normally say back to you, Mr. Prez, but now I'm going to give a little promo instead. Let's talk about what's going on in terms of specials for Thanksgiving week as we get Carmine Bianco ready to join the show right here. Because at Sports Memo, you get 40% off anything in your cart. Real simple. All right. Whatever you want, just put in your cart. 40% off. No promo code needed. For WagerTalk, get a week of picks, only $69. That literally is the lowest price we offer all year. Every play from every sport, from any handicapper you want, that includes all the 5% plays, et cetera, et cetera. $69. That is an offer. Again, there's nothing more to buy. There's no bait and switch. It's a good offer if you want to get involved on board. Go to WagerTalk.com and do it right now. If you want the Sports Memo 40% off everything, go to SportsMemo.com and do your thing. Thank you. And check out the plays this weekend. All right. Let's bring in Carmine Bianco. Carmine, how are you today, my friend? Welcome to WagerTalk Today.
Teddy, I'm doing great. I panicked there for a second with technical difficulties. My earbuds sounded like they were running out of juice. And you have enough on your hands today. No co-host, managing everything yourself. Kudos to you, my friend.
It's honestly, it's easy. You start and you just roll. You don't think about it. You just talk, which sometimes can be a good thing.
It's a bonus that it's supposed to be Steve Merrill instead of Prez, because I know he can get on your nerves sometimes. But you're doing a great job of it, man. And an early happy Thanksgiving to you and my friends north of the border as well too, south of the border as well too.
Appreciate that very much, Carm. Let's get into it. We know you've been running real good in the NHL already this season, and tonight there's a couple of games we want to talk about and break down from a betting perspective. The Rangers and the Islanders, a battle for New York, the city versus the island. I'm seeing the Rangers, minus 120, total of 5.5, juice to the under. What are we going to do? New York versus New York.
Yeah, I looked at this game. I was looking at the overnights on Monday because my intention was if the Islanders, if some of those players were returning off of the COVID list, that I would look to likely take the Islanders in that game. But their list has actually gotten longer. Zdeno Chara is now on that list. You look at the team, and this is a team off a 13-game road trip to start the season, come home, and their first 2 games have resulted in losses because there's players missing. You got Zdeno Chara, Josh Bailey, Anders Lee, Kiefer Bellows, Ross Johnson, Adam Pelech, Andy Green, all on the COVID list. And then you throw in injuries to Pulock and, of course, their leading goal scorer, Brock Nelson, who has 9 goals and 2 assists. And this team is pretty much decimated right now. That line went from the opening line of minus 135 on the Islanders to minus 125 on the Rangers. I don't get the NHL. Ottawa had 10 guys out. They postponed 3 of Ottawa's games because of COVID things. You had San Jose with 8 players out. The Islanders with 7 out, and they've got to play their games. There is no, hard and fast rule here. I guess you need 10 players out before they'll postpone some of their games. It's probably going to get a little worse for the Islanders before it gets better, but they will become a bye team at some point in the next couple of weeks where they start to get players back and string wins together. But tonight's not one of them. I think you just got to take the Rangers in this spot. I think the Islanders are decimated. They're bringing guys up from their minor league affiliate. It's just not a good spot for them. So I think the Rangers at a small price are the play here.
Looking at the New York Rangers, who are now road favorites against the Islanders. And I want to ask you this. It feels like last year at this time, every COVID outbreak was big headline. It was, and we knew what was going on everywhere. It was like this year, it's a little bit quieter in terms of the attention being paid to these COVID outbreaks across sports. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, no, I agree. Last year, we had 50 plus games that were postponed in the NHL because of COVID outbreaks. And this year, it just seems like unless it completely decimates the team, they're just not going to do it. I don't get it. I think we're going to see this situation happen as the season progresses, where even those that are vaccinated can still get it, and it's going to spread throughout the dressing room, and we're going to have guys. We're going to have the teams that have 10 plus guys on that list, and games will get canceled. I don't get the NHL not canceling some of these games. Maybe they don't want to fall into that same thing where last year with a ton of games and then having to stretch out the season a couple of weeks prior to the playoffs. I think they just want to get through 82 games this year and sort of mask the problem, maybe.
Yeah, I hear you. I just want to get through Thanksgiving and get back to Vegas without getting the Rona myself. So I'm not going to disagree with that as a concept. We've seen nothing but Boston Bruins money so far today, Carmine. The Bruins, minus 250, minus 260, minus 270. Everyone's betting Boston as road favorites at Buffalo against the Sabres. Total 5.5. What are we going to do with this one?
Yeah, as they should. I'm actually. It almost pains me to say it, Teddy. I'm a Sabres fan, but I am not a diehard Sabres fan. But I said at the beginning of the year, this team was playing well out of the gates. People talked about the Sabres were going to be a bad team, and maybe the players took it, along with the Jack Eichel thing hanging over their heads, that he didn't want to be in Buffalo. He wanted to get moved. And they were playing well. But I said at some point, regression is going to kick in, and this team is going to start losing games in bunches. And that's happening right now. They've lost 9 of their last 11 games. It's probably going to get a lot worse as the season goes on. Their season point total was 67.5 points, which is a very low number going into this season. They have some upcoming games against Montreal, Seattle, and Detroit after this one against Boston. But this is not a good spot for them against the Bruins team is playing well. They've only lost back-to-back games twice, and they come off a loss to Calgary. Those back-to-back losses were against Florida and the Carolina Hurricanes, 2 very good teams, which the Sabres are not. It's supposed to be Linus Ullmark in net tonight, a former Buffalo goalie, and he beat him earlier this season 4-1 in Buffalo. He was the first off the ice today in Boston, but Bruce Cassidy, the coach, said he tweaked something in that morning skate, so he may not be the starter tonight. Aaron Dell for the Sabres tonight. He's only played 2 games. He's appeared in 4, 2 of them in relief, but he's only played 2 games. He's allowed 5 goals in each of those 2 starts, 10 goals total. Not the greatest thing you want. you can't lay the big number with the Bruins, but you can take them in regulation time. And if they win the game in 60 minutes, you're only laying minus 140 as opposed to minus 260. And that's probably the way to go here. Bruins in regulation time.
When you're making the decision, regulation time versus puck line, how do you make that call in this instance? You get puck line, you get the Bruins on the puck line at basically even money right now.
Yeah, it's also not a bad way to go, Teddy. And when I look at first of all, regulation time as opposed to a full game, I have an Excel sheet of my games that I take regulation time as opposed to taking the full line because I just don't want to lay those big numbers. I think it's a bankroll killer at the end of the day. The bottom line is I'm ahead taking regulation lines as opposed to full game lines. So it's why I never release a game that's higher than minus 150, minus 160-ish. That's probably at the height of where I want to go with a full game line. But I can't blame you on a puck line. I prefer taking puck lines with home teams as opposed to away teams. There's no rhyme and reason to it. It's just what I do. But this is a bad Sabres team. They look like they're competing on the ice. The bad thing about this is if you take the Bruins on the puck line, and this is one of those games that ends 4-3 in regulation. You've got the right team, but you've got a losing bet. So it's tough in that nature of taking the puck line. I like to get plus money when I'm taking the puck line. I don't really like to lay any vig while laying a goal and a half or just getting even money on it.
Carmine Bianco breaking down the NHL from a betting perspective. Carm, what do you have going over the course of the weekend? Obviously, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, huge weekend for bettors. And for people in general, I guess.
It all starts tonight. There's a big 14-game sked. Andrew's on a fantastic run as well, too, a 10-0 NHL run. And we both have $2 Tuesday plays up. You can still get those. They're still $2. There's some great promos in there. I have a 5% NFL play. I had a winner on the weekend, a good 4-1 day in the NFL, and a 5% winner as well, too. There's one up for Thursday. And some Champions League action today, some Europa tomorrow, and NFL cards up for the weekend shortly. But it's going to be a busy day. I get to play, Teddy, I love it. I get to celebrate Thanksgiving Day twice. Canada was last month, and I celebrate the U.S. one. I'll be at a pub tomorrow with some friends watching all 3 NFL games, eating some turkey and drinking some beer. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks to you guys for celebrating on a different day. And again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you south of the border.
Thank you so much, Carmine Bianco, celebrating Thanksgiving Canada style, the same way we celebrate here in the U.S., turkey, beer, and football. Once again, I want to remind everyone, once a year offer, full week of picks from any handicapper at WagerTalk.com, only $69. There's no promo code needed. All you do, go to WagerTalk.com, find the capper that you want, sign up for a week of picks, $69. There's nothing more to buy. There's no bait and switch. And when you consider that a single 5% big ticket play goes for $35, you get a full week of plays for $69, counting every play and every sport, including all 5%. It's a good deal. It's our Black Friday special. Take advantage. Again, only $69 at WagerTalk.com. We're going to close out the show today with a guy who I love to hang out with. He's fun, and he knows sports as well as anybody because he gives us a perspective from the other side of the counter. We got all the handicappers on the show. We got to have guys who are bookmakers to give us a different perspective, and that's why I love bringing in Arthur DiCesare each and every week. Art, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you on the day before Thanksgiving?
Teddy, it's a pleasure to be here, man. It's just you and I, man. This is going to be fun. Get to
it's way
go
more
back
fun.
And forth. Yeah, man. We don't have Prez in the middle. This is going to be amazing, man. I can't wait.
Sure. Yeah, nothing against Merrill, nothing against Prez. But now I don't have to be typing in me next, you next for Prez, because you and I can have a nice discussion over the next 10 minutes and talk a little bit about Thanksgiving weekend. I want to start with this. What's going on at the Westgate over Thanksgiving weekend? Are you guys packed? Is it quiet? What's the book like on this particular weekend?
Yeah, Teddy, this is a great week for sports, aka Feast Week. There's just so much going on. Obviously, you got all the NBA and NHL. College basketball is in full swing with all the tournaments, basically starting from 8 a.m., going till 8 p.m. in Vegas, and then all the football. The last couple of days, it was a little quiet, but we'll see what happens as we go into the next couple of days here. I think we'll have a lot of people betting. We'll just see. It's an interesting time of the year, obviously, because it's the holidays. What type of action do you get? What type of tourists do you get in Vegas? But, that's never going to stop us from booking action. So I think we'll be fine, and I think we'll be taking plenty of action over the next couple of days because it's a busy couple of days.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're a little quiet on Monday and Tuesday, I guarantee you ain't going to be quiet at the Westgate tonight, and certainly not tomorrow, Friday, or the weekend. It is a huge weekend here in Las Vegas. And let's talk about some of the big games. Let's start with Turkey Day NFL. Obviously, they get more betting action on Turkey Day than any. And I asked this question yesterday. Have you noticed this? The favorites on Thanksgiving, the books, they tend to win more often. The public tends to win more often on Thanksgiving Day itself. Why is that?
That's a great question. I think a lot of the times, we look at these Thursday games when they're just the regular Thursday games. Home team usually has an advantage. People like to take the home teams on the short week. Now you got 3 games where people can look at that angle. I think people like that it's a home team on Thanksgiving. They didn't have to travel. They didn't have to upset their, holiday plans and all that type of stuff. Obviously, when you're taking the Lions, that's tough because you're taking a home team in the Lions who aren't very good. Obviously, the Cowboys are going to attract a ton of money, even though it's interesting this year they're going against Vegas. We normally take Vegas money. People have kind of been off Vegas the last week or so. So, nothing but Dallas money coming in. So I don't think that's any surprise. And then the Saint game, people like taking the Saints at home. The Saints are normally a good home team. Really hasn't reflected so far in the numbers because it's been nothing but bill money, and you've seen a big move in that number. But yeah, I could see the angle there that home teams are normally going to take a lot of action, and why not on Turkey Day?
So you've seen a lot of Cowboys money. You've seen a lot of Bills money. Now, for the Lions and the Bears, I was sitting at 3.5 yesterday, and it's all threes now. I'm assuming that was sharp money on Detroit. It's not like the public is running to the betting window to bet the line.
No, definitely not. I think when people looked at it, they looked at it could just be a field goal game, obviously. So if you're going to get the 3.5, take the 3.5. Hope it is a field goal game. Tough to back either team there. Obviously, Dalton's starting for the Bears. The Lions have just been bad. There's been a lot of money on that under. That under has been, bet down and bet down and bet down. Both teams have played 10 games. Both teams have only gone over in 3 games each side. So total sitting at 41.5. A lot of money on that under so far that's pushed it under 42.
Anything for Sunday that stood out in terms of early week NFL betting action? Who does the public like? Who do the wise guys like when it comes to the NFL for this weekend?
Yeah, right now, one of the big games, New England at home against C. It's been nothing but I don't think that's any shock. New England is playing the best football in the NFL right now. They've just been great over the last 5 or 6 games. We had a look-ahead line at 2.5, when we always put those week in advance lines. That game moved to 4.5. Then it was at 6. Now it's at 6.5. I think at some point, people think Tennessee's going to regress. Obviously, it started last week. People are going to look at them losing to the Texans and say, oh boy, here we go. And how good is, New England has played. So lot of New England money. We're going to be big Titans fans on Sunday. I'll say that much. Another one that's an interesting one, it's kind of a split game a little bit, is a big game, is Tampa at Indy. Game sitting at 3. We've kind of had action on both sides a little bit. So that's one to keep your eye on, where it's kind of going back and forth. And whether that's sharp or public money, it really is just people feel good on either side. All their losses are on the road. So people feel like they can fade Tampa a little bit on the road, but Brady is always going to get support. We know that. And then, San Francisco's been getting a lot of money public-wise, but the Sharps are going to take Minnesota. That's just the way it goes. People have liked Minnesota from a sharp angle, and San Francisco has never really been a good favorite. They're a terrible home favorite. So, and I believe Minnesota is like 3-0, 4-0 as an underdog this year. So a lot of sharp money on Minnesota early, a lot of public money on San Francisco.
And I want to ask you about the Philadelphia Eagles, because it seemed to me like the Eagles have been a big wise guy play the last couple of weeks, and they've cashed back-to-back winners back in Philly. Are we seeing the wise guys load up on Philly against the Giants this week?
Yeah, today I remember we had spoken about that, and Philadelphia has definitely been one of those wise guy plays this year. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a Giants fan and I hate the Eagles, but I can't understand why people love the Eagles so much. So it's going to be interesting this week. Obviously, the Giants have a lot of turmoil. They've been bad. They fire Garrett. Garrett's not the reason they're bad, but it's kind of just all right. We got to do something. It is a divisional game. You're going to get a home team getting 3.5 points. So I think there's going to be a little bit of buy on the Giants. Right now, there's not that much action on the game. I think the wise guys will continue to stay with the Eagles. It'd be interesting to see, though. I think eventually, if that game maybe gets to 4, there's probably some good buyback on the Giants. And, anytime you can get a divisional home team over a field goal, I think there's value there. So right now, not a lot of action, but we'll see where that ends up, come kickoff on Sunday.
We've got just a couple of minutes left with Arthur DiCesare, race and sports supervisor over at the Westgate Superbook. He is an excellent follow on Twitter at ArtDice21. I encourage you, give him a follow. And anytime you're in Las Vegas, stop at the Westgate and say hi. Art will genuinely appreciate it. He's one of those guys that when you go in and say hi, he's actually glad to meet you. Real quick, Art, before I let you go, I want to talk Egg Bowl, Thanksgiving, college football, and anything else on the college football slate that stands out to you for this coming weekend. Who are the bettors loving? Who are they hating in early week action?
Well, Teddy, you got to talk about the big game. Obviously, Ohio State at Michigan. That's obviously the cream of the crop when it comes to the games this weekend. A lot of good games, obviously. We opened that game as a look-ahead line. We had Ohio State -6, went to 8. We got it at 8.5 now. A lot of Ohio State money coming in. We're going to have liability all over the place with Ohio State, not only on the spread. That's going to be a very popular teaser option. Ohio State will be thrown in plenty of money line spots. Michigan's been good, man. They're 9-2 against the number. If they get it done, if any time they're going to get it done, it's this year, right? I mean, is this the year? So, bettors haven't felt that way yet, though. I think there will be at some point people feel it's too many points. So you'll probably see some Michigan money come in at some point. Nothing but Ohio State money so far. Oklahoma State, nothing but Oklahoma State money. This is one of those things, too. Hey, Oklahoma State, take care of business. You still have a shot. You're sitting at 7 in the polls. So some things can happen, and maybe you slide in. Oklahoma State's got a really good defense. Oklahoma's been very spotty. They've been bad against the number. Oklahoma State's been good against the number, 9-2. So Oklahoma State money coming in. I'm sure some sharp guys or some wiser guys will like Oklahoma, a little bit over the field goal with the 4. So you could see that coming in. And the Egg Bowl. Egg Bowl is a great little spot on Thanksgiving, right? Egg Bowl is always something that attracts nice bettors. You got to love that. They're always like the kind of standalone college football game, even though there is one more game on Thanksgiving, I believe, for college football. But a lot of over money so far in the Egg Bowl.
Arthur DiCesare breaking down the world of sports betting from the other side of the counter. Art, what's going on at the Westgate this weekend? What do you want our viewing audience to know about what you have going on?
Well, as always, guys, Teddy has said it. I am one of those guys. I love people coming in and saying hi. I'm always there to help. Please come ask for me. Ask for Arthur DiCesare. I'm down to help you guys with whatever you need, getting signed up for the app, getting some drink tickets, getting some seats, just, kind of going over the betting menu, whatever you need. Thursdays, we do our reduced juice where we kind of set up, the weekend where you can come in and bet -105 instead of -110. That's college football and NFL sides, no totals. And then we have a great promo on our app right now. Through the end of the year, you sign up, you bet 100, you get 100, and that's through December 31st. And like I said, you need any help, you just come down to the Westgate and you ask for me. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. And Teddy, I love being on with you, man. This is always a blast. And, you and Prez, even though, Prez is like the crazy uncle I wish I didn't have. It's just a pleasure being on with you guys, man, and nothing but health and happiness to your family. And, obviously we'll talk next week.
Right back at you, Art. I appreciate that very much. And I want to thank you. I want to thank our entire viewing audience. You guys, thank you so much. I want to thank our guest today, Rob Veno, Carmine Bianco, and, of course, Arthur DiCesare. We'll be dark tomorrow. No show Turkey Day. We'll be back on Friday. It'll be Prez and Steve Merrill breaking down the world of sports and sports betting for you right here on WagerTalk Today. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
Have you checked out all the new handicappers at Sports Memo? If not, here's your chance. We want to give thanks to all of you Thanksgiving week by discounting everything at Sports Memo through Monday, November 29th by 40% using coupon code THANKS40. This coupon code can be used on anything and everything from daily packages to 12-month all-access passes. Our new handicapping roster of experts is strong, giving you tons of options to choose from. All you have to do to redeem our Thanksgiving offer is go to sportsmemo.com, choose a handicapper of your choice, use coupon code THANKS40 at checkout, and save 40% on your purchase, and repeat as many times as you want until the clock strikes midnight on Monday.